And a lot of people talk about Pac now, and it's just, for the movie. And a lot of people didn't know what was really going on in the Marin City, situation that broke out and broke down at that time. But Pac had issues in Marin City because a lot of people were upset at the fact he went to Oakland. Once he moved out of Marin and went to Oakland, that was cool because he would always come back to Marin City. But the only problem was he was blowing up, and on his records, he claimed Oaktown, Oaktown, Oaktown. He never really gave shouts out to Marin City. So they were like, why is he claiming Oakland all the time? So naturally, haters are going to pick up on that. Haters don't pick up on the times you spend and all the other stuff. And Pac wasn't like any other rap star where, he was still in the hood. Like, no, I'm kicking it with the people I want to hang with. And that ended up being one of his downfalls and vices that they used against him. But he did an interview in The Source, and he was just, saying like, look, man, Marin City, yeah, there ain't nothing but a bunch of pimps, dope dealers. And once he said that line in The Source magazine, I don't want to say exactly The Source. It might have been The Source, because if I read it, and I know I read it, it probably was The Source. I owned every Source magazine, so definitely it had to be in The Source. But anyway, when he said it and did that interview, they read it too. And all it takes is one hater to bring it to another hater, and it's the Hate Fest 95 or 93 at that time. So anyway, he goes to a party. This is before the picnic that they had in Marin. This is at a house party, like 3 weeks before that happened. And why he shows up there, it's like a group of dudes like, man, what he doing here anyway, man? He always claiming Oakland. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you go to Oakland, man? What you coming here for? And he came there to see his boys, and he'd be like, yeah, man, everybody be like, man, do your thing, because not everybody hate Pac or was hating on him. But the haters was, piling up. Yeah, man, he went Hollywood on us, man. Nobody want to see you here, man. Go home. Pac was like, see, this is why I can't come around, man. Yep, I'm going to have to go. Because he knows something finna go down if he stays. So he be like, yo, man, I'm out. And Pac be ready to say something to do, but he ain't say nothing. So he ain't say nothing. And after that, you see Pac, and you see the situation where his homeboys, like the next day or whatever, it's not even the next day, I think it was either a week or two later, they went to the carnival. It was like the fest they had, a Marin City fest, like what you saw in the movie almost. Pac was signing autographs, taking pictures with people, being, Pac, not bothering him. And sure enough, it was the same haters from the party that was there. What you doing here? Yeah, you up in there talking about we ain't nothing but dope dealers and drug dealers and all of this. And Pac got these little shorties with him, like they from Oakland. And they ain't from Marin City. And these dudes is, they don't know these dudes, and they'll set it off in a heartbeat. And, one of them, he's the guy who's strapped. The other ones wasn't holding. And Mo Preem was there, and a couple other Oakland cats was up there. So, and he had some dudes with him that was from Marin City. He still had boys there. So when the next thing you know, Pac and the dude get into an argument, and they start going at it. And I don't know if the dialogue is what he said in the movie, because in the movie it kind of didn't even make sense. He was just using words that Pac would say. But it was in the tone in which Pac was saying, like, dog, I'm out here for the people, like you could be out here getting money instead of talking about, somebody waiting for somebody to hand you something, waiting for a handout. But Pac used to always use the word goat mouth, so that's why it fit. But for that situation, goat mouth wouldn't have worked for the movie. Like, you call somebody goat mouth who's being lazy at that time. Man, you over here goat mouth. You just being lazy at that moment in time of what you doing. You wouldn't have used it in that kind of conversation in that moment. But anyway, that's just nitpicking, and I don't want to do that, but let's stick to the facts. After this breaks down, and they have their little communication lapse, you have the guy feeling owned, like Pac owned him. So one of Pac older homies get into it, come up and starts getting into it with his buddy, and he wanted to swing on him. And the dude wanted to swing on him too. They was just gonna let, like, we'll see you later on tonight. It ain't happened like that. It went down right then and there. Punches was thrown. Next thing you know, one of the shorties that was with Pac went for a pistol and pulled, and a little kid got killed at the park. And when this happened, the people started blaming Tupac for the entire incident. Pac was already moving out. His people were moving out. Pac ran up the block. He had to hide under a car because people were throwing rocks and everything else. And the police had to come and escort him out of the situation. That's how bad it got. So the rest of his boys, they got in the car and was on a high-speed chase with the law. Mo Preem got arrested, went into a lineup. It was all kind of craziness going on at the time. So that's the truth behind that incident. Tupac lost so much money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars behind the incident he had to pay. Because the gun was licensed to Tupac. It was in his name. It was a legal pistol that he owned. It was licensed to him, even though he wasn't the one who shot and killed the kid, and he didn't shoot anything. The person that did it, they ended up catching him and charging him, and Tupac was, like, it was like reckless endangerment or something. And he paid fines and everything else to keep from going to jail, and paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to that family for the incident. So a lot of Tupac money went to lawyers, and that was just basically it. But the cop situation really doomed him, because he was already public enemy number one to them, because his last name was Shakur. And anybody last name Shakur blowing up in hip-hop was going to have that problem. It was going to have a major problem. The Shakurs were outlawed by the United States government because they felt they were Black Panthers, terrorist group. His sister had to flee to Cuba, and all of these different things that happened. So when you see all these things like in the forefront, you go like, wow, they really was coming for dude like that. I didn't know it was like that. It's like, yeah, they was really coming for Pac. It was no joke. So whenever the Vice President of the United States says your name out of his mouth, believe me, that is not a good thing. Especially when he tied it to something negative. Mutulu Shakur, who they had in jail for the rest of his life, basically, Mutulu ain't getting out. They weren't going to let him get out. They want all the Shakurs locked down. They felt they represented a threat to the government. And now they felt Tupac Shakur was Mutulu's last weapon against the masses. Tupac has been taught by Mutulu, so he's going to be sending the message out that Mutulu was using. And by Tupac having influence and being large in the hip-hop world, the government didn't want that. to happen, and rap was getting out of control. They definitely didn't want Tupac Shakur to be at the forefront of that. So here comes a anybody but him mentality. Like, anybody could blow up, but not him. You'd be like, what does that even incorporate? Why not him? No, anybody but him. Can't let Shakur blow up. Can't have it. So that's why he was singled out, because Tupac didn't even sell that many records. It's like, he's not even up there with like Ice-T and Ice Cube. He wasn't even up there yet. And why are y'all so worried about him? That you figured out real fast. And he knew. Pac knew that they were going to come for him. That's why he always talked about it. He said, they're going to come for me. But Tulu already prepared him. Geronimo, all these guys that he talked to, all these real OGs that's been locked down. You know, he talked to these guys. He knew about the system, everything they were doing, and how much influence he had. That's what the government was afraid of. They fear the influence. So, by the fact that he's a Shakur, you know, that incident with the police beating him up and all that stuff, that wasn't just by accident, you know. And was Pac wrong for making that statement that he did? I mean, he was just talking freely, like anybody will say from their city, like, man, they sell dope. You got dope crackheads users all over the world. So for anybody from Marin City who see this, Marin City is known, they're close to the Bay, but everybody over there from the south that came out from down south across there, they came there because of the jobs and the employment. Everybody basically worked at the shipyard. And when you worked at the shipyard, you know what I'm saying, that employed a lot of people in the 60s and 70s. You know, during those times, giving people good paying jobs at the shipyard. So it kept people afloat. They were a community. They all stuck together. And they were from all different parts of down south. And when they all migrated out to the Bay area and Oakland and everybody else, the shipyard was the main filling station and main job and putting food on the table for a lot of people out there. And they were very proud of that. So a lot of people felt disrespected when he said that. And he's been apologized for that many times because he's young. People got to understand this is somebody young just talking. You know, so if you were from Marin City and you were offended by that, please forgive him. You know, he's no longer here to defend himself again for all these things, but he was young and that was just what it was. But nobody could understand the pressures of what he had to go through when the whole entire federal government is after you because of your last name. You know, that's a very difficult thing to have on your back. So, with that being said, I'm out. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, the whole 9. Peace. As you can see, I'm in the movie theater by myself.
Check out MarinMenudos.com for celebrity interviews and be sure to get here early for First Look and go behind the scenes
for the gigantic IMAX theater.
Next time on First Look.
He's hiding a car.
For Cars 3.
Time for you and your boys.
And I'm out.
Get out of town.
So,
Start walking.
anything that you guys want to do as far as checking out my old videos for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and my Cars 3 review will be on Screen Fiends. You should know that.
It's what you do. If you're at the movies.
So let me sit here and watch it,
It's what you do.
and I'll let you know.
The eyes.
Gotta plug Screen Fiends, you know that.
Show real slow.
All right, y'all.
Geico. 15 minutes could
I'm
save
out.
you 15% or more on car insurance.
Look at that beautiful screen.